The coffee had gone cold in my hands by the time I saw Greta pushing through the automatic doors. 2 years of silence, broken by one phone call from airport security. She looked older, her hair more grey than brown now, but she walked with the same determined stride that had carried her through our childhood. When she saw me, something in her face crumbled and rebuilt itself in the span of a heartbeat. "Elizabeth," she said, and in that one word was everything. Anger at Rasmus, fury at our stubborn silence, and underneath it all, the love that only sisters know. She pulled me into her arms, and I breathed in her familiar scent of lavender soap and strong coffee. "The house?" she asked, though from her expression she already knew. "Sold 3 weeks ago," she cursed in Danish, words our mother would have washed her mouth out for. "And the money?" I couldn't answer, just shook my head. She held me tighter, and I felt her trembling with rage. That little weasel. I never liked Astrid, you know. Something cold about her eyes. It was petty and unkind, and exactly what I needed to hear. The airport office had given us privacy, but I could feel Berth hovering nearby, professional concern radiating from her corner. "I have the car," Greta said, pulling back to look at me properly. "You're coming home with me, no arguments. Home." The word felt foreign now. Where was home when you'd sold the only one you'd known? "I can't impose," I started, but she cut me off with a look that transported me back 60 years to when she'd defended me from neighborhood bullies. "You're not imposing. You're my sister. And Fredrik will be thrilled. He's been asking about you every holiday, wondering why you stopped coming." Fredrik, her husband who told terrible jokes and made the best roast duck in Denmark. Their spare room that used to be their daughter's before she moved to London. Greta gathered my pitiful suitcases while I signed papers I barely understood. Berth promised to file reports, to investigate, to see what could be recovered. But we all knew the truth that none of us would speak. Rasmus had planned this perfectly. Legal enough to avoid prison, cruel enough to destroy me. The money transferred willingly, the house sold legally, the abandonment technically just a miscommunication. "Did he ever love me?" I asked Greta as we walked through the terminal. She stopped, turned to face me fully. "He loved what you could do for him. That's not the same thing. But it doesn't mean your love for him was wasted. You loved with pure heart. That's never wrong." The drive to Aarhus took 2 hours through darkness, punctuated by streetlights. Greta filled the silence with careful conversation about her garden, her book club, Fredrik's retirement hobbies. But occasionally, she'd reach over and squeeze my hand, and in those moments, I'd cry silently, watching Denmark blur past through my tears. "Remember when we were children," she said softly, "and Papa left us at the market that one time? We were so scared, but we found our way home together." I remembered, 7 and 9 years old, holding hands through the streets of Copenhagen, Greta leading the way with stubborn determination. "This is different," I whispered. "I know," she said, "but you're not alone in it." Fredrik stood in the doorway of their row house, backlit by warm yellow light that spilled onto the cobblestone street. He was wearing his reading glasses pushed up on his head, and the same knitted vest Greta had made him years ago. Without a word, he took my suitcases and carried them inside as if they weighed nothing. The house smelled of cinnamon and coffee, and I could see he'd been baking. Flour dust still on the kitchen counter. "Elizabeth," he said simply, pulling out a chair at their kitchen table. "Sit, eat. Then we'll talk about killing your grandson. The dark humor caught me off guard, and I laughed, a broken sound that was half sob. He'd made ablaskiva, the round pancakes Hendrik used to love, and set them before me with powdered sugar and jam. I always make too many, he said, though we all knew he'd started making them the moment Greta called from the car. The normalcy of sitting at their table, of watching Frederick pour coffee with steady hands, of hearing their cat padding across the floor, it anchored me to something real. The guest room is ready, he said, sitting across from me. Stay as long as you need, forever if you want. God knows this house is too quiet with just us old fools rattling around. Greta showed me to the room that had been their daughter Marge's. The walls were soft blue now, not the teenage pink I remembered, but Marge's childhood drawing of their family still hung framed by the window. They'd added a quilt that looked handmade, probably Greta's winter project, and fresh flowers on the nightstand. The bathroom is across the hall, Greta said unnecessarily, both of us avoiding the weight of the moment. There are towels in the cupboard. Then she sat on the bed beside me, and we were children again, sharing secrets in the dark. I should have called you, I said. After the funeral, I should have swallowed my pride about Mother's ring. She shook her head. I should have called you. I should have known something was wrong when you stopped coming to family dinners. I should have pushed harder when Rasmus always had excuses for why you couldn't visit. We sat in the comfortable silence that only siblings know, where words aren't necessary because the shared history speaks louder. Outside, I could hear the night sounds of Aarhus, a dog barking, a bicycle bell, someone's television through an open window. Life continuing despite my world ending. Do you want to call him? Greta asked finally. I don't have my phone, I reminded her. He took it. She pulled her own phone from her pocket, holding it out like an offering. You could use mine. I stared at the device, imagining dialing the number I knew by heart, hearing his voice, asking why. But what answer could possibly satisfy? What words could undo the calculated cruelty of leaving me behind? Tomorrow, I said, though we both knew tomorrow would come and go without that call. Some betrayals are too deep for confrontation, some wounds too severe for the person who caused them to heal.